All right, we have to talk more about what's happening in Washington, D.C., a little bit north of Florida and a tad bit colder, especially when it comes to this topic. There's a new report on Operation Fast and Furious that's creating some serious controversy right now. A panel of House Democrats say there is no evidence that the failed gun-running sting was directed or created by top political appointees at the Justice Department, top political appointees like the Attorney General. Eric Holder is set to face questions this week. Republican California Congressman Darrell Issa will be asking some of those questions. He's the chairman of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. So, Congressman, this committee says they've obtained no evidence indicating that the Attorney General authorized gun walking or that he was aware of such allegations. They point to 22 witnesses that say they never even talked to any high-ranking officials in the Department of Justice. Do you have proof to the contrary of that?
You know, Jenna, in 1991, when the Minister of Information in Baghdad said that our people were being killed as they landed and they were being pushed back and Iraq was going to destroy America, he probably meant it when he said it, but a few hours later they were gone. The fact is, the amazing thing is, they didn't work over the weekend. They released this last night around midnight, but last Friday, in the dump done by the Justice Department late on Friday in order to avoid any kind of real review over the weekend, what they showed us was that Lanny Breuer, on the very day that we were being given a false statement, February 4th, he was in Mexico lobbying for continuation of gun walking. So, you know, if you just read the administration's dump, which of course they undoubtedly had ahead of time, they would have known that their whole report was based on a premise that was false.
So are you calling the authors of this report liars?
No, I said they probably, Jenna, I said they probably didn't read the Friday dump. It's kind of hard to read it. But 3 days after the Friday dump, the evidence given to us finally by the administration goes even further. It shows that Lanny Breuer was still a believer in Fast and Furious and programs like it. So you can't call it a rogue program when the number two under Eric Holder and the head of these kind of investigations, Lanny Breuer, is still advocating for gun walking. I guess he wanted to do it in a better way, but ultimately he still believed in it. So
you say that his awareness of this automatically implicates the Attorney General as well?
No, Jenna, you got to listen carefully. The report didn't say that Eric Holder knew or didn't know. It said no one at Justice. Ma'am, you can't get much higher than Lanny Breuer without getting to Eric Holder. And clearly, Lanny Breuer not only knew about these programs, but advocated for them even after Brian Terry was gunned down.
So what are the questions you have for the Attorney General on Thursday?
What do you think you're doing if you can't know people in justice at high level are doing it? What are you doing when you're going to say that, in fact, the Bush administration did it and it was wrong, but you not only continued doing it, but expanded far beyond with less controls? What are you doing months and months, a year after Brian Terry's death, when, in fact, you're still trying to pretend that nobody at Justice did it? You're hiding behind an IG. This is an IG not only appointed by Eric Holder, but an IG who leaks sensitive information back to Justice. What are you doing to run an organization? This is about whether or not Justice has the kind of people at the very top that the American people can believe in. The investigation as to Fast and Furious leaves no doubt this administration allowed 2,000 guns to walk and did so with the kind of approvals at Justice, including U.S. attorneys, including DEA and ATF. That's not debatable, regardless of what the minority, in an almost delusional way, put out last night.
Will you be asking, finally, for the Attorney General to step down?
You know, that's a decision only the president can make. I've said that I don't have confidence in him. I'm deeply disappointed that Justice has not been able to respond quickly and honestly. The fact is they lawyered up rather than delivering the kind of responsive information first to Senator Grassley and then to our committee. Remember, Senator Grassley was flat told they wouldn't answer his questions until we came in with a subpoena. And it was, in fact, Senator Grassley asking legitimate oversight questions that prompted this whole investigation. If they hadn't tried to thwart it time and time again, this wouldn't be looking more like Iran-Contra than a rogue operation, as they'd like you to believe.
This is a story we've continued to follow very closely, very important to our viewers. I see through this committee report, again, more references to the ATF agents in Phoenix, the Arizona U.S. Attorney's Office, and also references to the Bush administration for being part of these series of operations. So we know that there's a lot to work through on Thursday. We'll be listening very closely, Congressman. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.